We're staying in our drawingaccurately.dwg file. In the previous video, we created the objects on the screen using grid and snap. This time we're going to use a more traditional drafting method. We're going to utilize coordinates, which tends to be the more traditional way of drafting in AutoCAD. And I'm going to show you how to draft using coordinate entry. So in order to do that, we're going to utilize grid and snap first to draw a circle. So we're going to go up to the draw panel on the home tab on the ribbon, click on the flyout here for circle, and we're going to go center radius. Now your grid and your snap are still switched on the status bar at this point. And what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to select the end there. Can you see the end of that line where we started doing the gear teeth? Click there and come out one grid square and click again for the radius, like that. And as you can see, that's placed a circle. Now we're going to utilize the center snap of that circle to replicate our rectangle here, but we're going to do it using coordinates instead of grid and snap. Now, before we do anything else, we're going to go down to grid and snap here and switch them off. So click on grid mode there, turn it off. Click on that one there, snap mode, turn it off. Turn on your polar tracking. Turn on your object snap tracking and your object snaps. And then go to the flyout for object snaps on the arrow there. Just make sure that endpoint, midpoint, center are on, and also intersection and extension like so. Hit escape to lose the object snap menu, or just click in the drawing. Now we're going to remove the objects that we don't need. So that's going to be this line here. Click on each line, and as you can see, each one of those, the grips appear when they're selected, like that. Click on each of those lines that you've created using grid and snap. It's just a right click now and erase on the shortcut menu. So now we've got the center snap of this circle. Now we're going to utilize the center snap of the circle to generate 4 lines that look like this rectangle here. Now you'll remember the long edge of the rectangle was 5 squares, so that was 250 long. And the short edge of the rectangle was 3 squares, 150 long, because our squares were set to increments of 50 units. Now, I'm not worried about what the units are. They could be millimeters, they could even be miles if you wanted them to be. But no, we're not going to worry about that. We're just going to worry about the units and the distance that we're working with. So, I now go to the line command on the draw panel on the home tab on the ribbon, and I'm going to just touch on the edge of the circle. See the dynamic input kicks in? There's that center snap that we need. So I click there on the center snap. And as you can see, I can move around now and I can place a line from the center of the circle. Now, we're going to drag to the right. Now, you'll notice the polar tracking kicks in. That kind of gives away the angle. What I'd like you to do is go down to polar tracking and turn it off. So now there's no angles, just a distance. Dynamic input does give you the option to put an angle in, but we're not going to worry about that. Now, the good thing is, if I type the @ symbol now, can you see that the dynamic input suddenly stops giving me the angle and the distance? Because it knows that I'm using coordinate entry. Now, X and Y, bottom left corner, show me that X to the right is positive, Y upwards is also positive. So we're going to the right, so it's going to be a positive 250 along the X-axis. Then a comma, type the comma as if you're writing down the coordinate. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to use 0 because we're not going anywhere in the Y direction at all. So we put 0 in. When I press enter, watch what happens. That line is now 250 long along the X-axis. I now need to go vertically. So the X value will be 0. So again, I type @ AutoCAD goes, oh, you're typing in a coordinate. So the X value will be 0. And then we type the comma again. And notice I've kind of hit the comma twice there. Make sure that comma disappears in that box there. I've just backspaced it. So it's 0. And then we need to go upwards. So Y is positive, 150. I then press enter to confirm. And there's our vertical line. Now I need to come back the other way. So if I'm going to the left in the X direction, that's going to be a negative X value. So again, it's an @ like so, minus 250. Now you can use the tab key instead of the comma key. So if I tab now, takes me to that, And then I'm just going to type 0 in there. That's it, 0. So it's 250 to the left along the x-axis, negative because we're going to the left, and the 0 means that we're not going up or down in the y-axis. Press enter to confirm, and you'll see that that draws in our horizontal line. Now, the good thing is I don't need to worry about getting to that first point because I can just right click and close like so. And there you go. I've got another rectangle exactly the same as the other one, but this time I've used coordinates instead. And you can see there that the coordinates can be positive or negative when you're working in the model space in AutoCAD. So that's how quick and easy it is to utilize coordinates in your AutoCAD drawings. One of the things I would suggest here, a bit of a call to action maybe, go and investigate how coordinates actually fully work in AutoCAD. You can use the @ symbol for relative coordinates. You can use the hashtag symbol for absolute coordinates. Go and check out what absolute coordinates do as well. They both work in similar ways, but absolute coordinates are relative to the origin point, 0, 0. Whereas relative coordinates with the @ symbol are relative to the last point selected. Go and check that out in your AutoCAD help. It's an interesting read.